TownSledder CAWs. Hello, WWE Games Universe, and welcome to our newly established series known as WWE Games Top 10s. Here we highlight the top 10 things of any WWE Games related category. What better way to start our first edition than with superstars we're already familiar with, or at least with the superstars our creator TownSledder is already familiar with. TS's Top 10 CAWs. Hit it. Kicking off our list at number 10, we have the Englishman himself, Morris Williamson. Morris debuted during early UCW with his tag partner Bison Baker in a team called Knights of the Round Table. Perceived as snobbish royalty, the Knights had a difficult time coexisting amongst others in the UCW locker room. It wasn't long before Morris had been sought as a direct target in the company and was taken out on injury due to concussion. After his comeback, the Knights struggled in gaining credibility within the tag team division. In the midst of failure, one could say Morris became careless, and eventually Morris had received multiple injuries at the hands of Eliminator 17 in one June 2012 house show, which ended his career for good. Coming in at number 9, we have UCW's bare-knuckle brawler, Leon Rivers. Entering the UCW scene during a period of great hibernation, Leon made waves almost instantly, calling out then UCW champion Ice Frost. In a rivalry that led up to the following pay-per-view, Leon was confident in taking the UCW championship off of Frost's hands. Unfortunately, he fell short on the night it had counted, and began to focus more on minor title runs. Although he hadn't have gained gold during his time spent in UCW, Leon will always be remembered as the man that woke UCW back up in 2012 with a little something to say. Although he places at number 8, he is the 17th addition to a series of dark-skinned clones. He is Eliminator 17. Upon his UCW debut, he'd made a statement out of then UCW champ, Therm, and was immediately branded a member of the Clique. He had proved to be a wrecking machine during his time spent in the faction, managing to take out UCW's chairman, Xander James, and keep moving without regression. He was the Clique's core weapon for some time, and elevated the group's status even more in 2012 when he earned the UCW X Division Championship via coin toss.
Really?
17 did, however, retain the title at the following pay-per-view, only for him to lose it the next. 17 finds himself in many altercations with superstars in the UCW locker room, and while he is known as somewhat of a backdrop to other personalities, he's left remarkable memories that will be shared by the universe for times to come. He is a rap artist who holds 2 albums to his name, and one of the most controversial UCW superstars to date, Keenan X. Very early on in UCW, X had gained much notoriety from the UCW universe as a character who would arrive, talk trash, then leave. Usually his trash talking would take the form of rap battle verses, and fans seemed to love to hate him for that. In 2011, Keenan had been part of a team with his good friend Jackson, and the two of them together had attained a great deal of ill fame, contributing to Keenan's launch into infamy. Eventually, Keenan had enough of a reputation to be involved with stables like the Treacherous Effect and the Clique. Whether fighting or spitting, Keenan's made quite the name for himself, both in the studio and in the ring. Who says rappers can't make good wrestlers? Known to be one of the most versatile and influential superstars in UCW's history, Colin Watson pops in at number 6. Young in his career, he'd been known as a misfit alongside his accomplice Brian Cole. Together, the two really hadn't have accomplished much of anything. However, the team did set the stage for both of their careers respectively. In 2012, Colin had befriended and established a partnership with Jesse Sullivan in a team coined Treacherous Effect, or TE for short. But both of them built a strong bondage between each other throughout their UCW careers, and for some time, it was difficult to imagine one without the other. A significant moment in Watson's career was when TE had finally defeated the Legion, who were an opposed team that Watson and Sullivan had had many altercations with during that time. Colin had co-led TE and later the Clique, where he truly exercised his gift of leadership. He is the prince of the 450 splash, and a lot of the rookie high flyers that enter UCW often look to him as a guide. He is what some would call a born leader, and earns this spot because of that. This disturbed and somewhat psychopathic UCW superstar slides his way to number 5. The Archangel Brian Cole had actually began as a bright young superstar back in 2011, and if you've been paying any attention, you'd know he was a misfit alongside Colin Watson in his early days. Brian had developed a desire for UCW's Hardcore Championship when he'd been branded as a singles competitor, and he'd soon get the opportunity to fight for it when earning number 1 contendership for the title at UCW's 2012 Execution pay-per-view. Unfortunately, he lost the championship match, but this loss only elevated Cole's career and persona as a whole. Cole had went into hiding for weeks after his loss, and when he returned, his look, wrestling style, and overall mindset had altered Gothic. His new character gave him the will he needed to bounce back and capture the Hardcore Championship and keep it for 2 weeks. Brian had remained in a pessimistic and depressive state until his release from UCW in late 2012, and although he's been gone for quite some time now, backstage statistics say he is a member of the alumni that UCW superstars would love to see make a return the most. Wingman and UCW developmental trainer Jeffrey Owens places 4th. With a black belt in karate and a martial arts background, it wasn't too hard for Jeffrey to earn respect in any company he was involved with. Apart from training, Jeffrey has general influence over promotional ideas and objectives regarding UCW, along with his 2 best friends, Kenny Trips and Sid Gillings. Occasionally, Owens does implicate himself in in-ring performance, usually when sparring with UCW rookies or newcomers, but typically Owen remains behind the camera, producing plans for the show and whatnot. Oh, and did we mention his chin?
Here comes the Crimson Chin.
A 2002 gold medal wrestling Olympian, Kenny Trips takes number 3. He is a third of the Wingmen and is known for his overt patriotism and collegiate wrestling style. Up until 2011, Trips and Sledder had been the closest of business partners. That was until Sledder had been subject to a hit and run, the driver later revealed to be Trips. Trips has always been in a pursuit for control over various promotions and has made it apparent over the years that he will do whatever it takes to be in a leadership position. It wouldn't be too outlandish to assume Trips took pleasure in attaining this channel, along with his 2 accomplices, though Kenny favors absolute power. So Jeff, Sid, I suggest you watch your backs. Wingman lead and channel head director Sid Gillings seizes number 2. Being the eldest of the group, much of the Wingmen's ideas stem from the mind of the Gill, and it was him that planted the idea of one day surpassing Sledder's corporational success in the heads of his Wingmen brethren. If you can't beat him, join him. After years of corporational failure, Gillings decided to become a ringside commentator for matches within Sledder's homegrown company of UCW. Being also a trainer within the brand, Sid had become refamiliarized with in-ring performance, and it wasn't too long after that Sid had enough confidence in both himself and his men to challenge Sledder to a 3-on-1 match in the summer of 2013. In a hardly forgotten match at which Sledder had been the victor, humbled was Gillings, and soon after, the 2 men had buried the hatchet. Sid could be described as the voice of the Wingmen, to this day vocalizing his own ideas on his channel like CAW contests, community Titantrons, and even top 10s. Some call him extraordinary. Others reject the postulate and remain in denial. Nonetheless, the legendary Sledder tops this list at number 1. Sledder had began his management career in 2011, leading federations such as World Extreme Wrestling and Veterans of the Ring. Sledder had recruited large numbers of people into his feds, majority of which make up UCW today. At the dusk of Sledder's second company, VOTR, practically his entire roster had walked out on the company due to Sled's abuse of power and unfitness of chairman position. In January 2012, Sledder had made his debut in UCW. He created memorable alliances, participated in unforgotten feuds, and in 2013 he created a YouTube channel where he could promote UCW, recruiting anyone who may have been interested. Record, recruit, retain. That has always been Sheriff Sledder's motto. And they are his favorite things to do, and not just in companies. He records the action, recruits the viewers, and retains the fame. WWE Games community, get hyped.